Children, we have a problem. I have a daughter who's got sticky fingers and she likes to come in my sewing room and steal my stuff. Sometimes you have to outsmart the smarty. Here's what I'm gonna do. This plan is actually twofold because I also have a sewing table that is literally a folding plastic table and it does not absorb shaking very well. Today I'm gonna use these drying mats to make a shock absorbent pocketed placemat for my sewing machine that I can then remove and hide so my daughter doesn't get into my special sewing tools and I can go on being a happy mommy instead of an angry one. This project is so easy, it's ridiculous. Let me show you how to make it. This is how it's going to be attached. Since all these edges are finished already, I'm actually going to just lay it on top of the next dish drying mat and see how there's crossover here. I'm going to follow this seam line and just sew it. Once you get it pinned, let's go to the sewing machine and I'll show you how to stitch this together. To make this easier to sew, it would behoove you to go ahead and fold this part up and just get it out of the way. And then you can just clip it with some clips. All right, now we're gonna load this into the machine. I'm gonna sew right in this little divot here, this seam line. You can make one of these with very little sewing experience, and it is going to be a big help to me, I already know. Back stitch at the end to lock those stitches in. And then once you pull it out, you'll see you've attached these two mats. Okay, let me show you now how this is going to look. I have set my machine up on this mat, which is now going to absorb some of that shaking that this plastic table could not. And you'll see now that we've got this part that we're just going to fold up, right? So like lay it out, sit up next to it and see where it's comfortable for you and how big you want those pockets to be. And the first step we're going to do is sew just up to this little spot right here. We don't want to obviously sew the whole way around because then we wouldn't have pockets. And once we do that, then I'll decide where I'm going to put my little pockets on it. Load it under your machine and just sew along the side. And repeat that on your opposite side. I think this is going to be a game changer for me as far as my daughter stealing my supplies and my tools. And let's be honest, like I don't mind showing her how to do stuff, but she has a tendency, as middle children tend to do, to be a little sneaky. Last step you need to do is decide where you're going to put your sections for your pockets. And this is how I did mine. You can do it literally however you want. I can dump a bunch of sewing clips in here. You know, the other helpful thing about this is sometimes I sew downstairs, like in our dining room, and I could take this with me with all my tools in it. I'm just like thinking of all the things you could stick in this that would be helpful. This is my seam presser. This is my seam ripper. I've got my marking pens and pencils. I mean, it can hold anything. You could even use one of these sections for like holding onto your scraps as you go so you don't have to drag a garbage can in there with you. And what I was saying about the pins is, you know, you can just stick them in as you're working. Now remember to pull them back out, obviously, but that is nice because a lot of times my pins just end up over here and then I knock them off and then I step on them later. So as you're removing them, you could just stick them right in there. I am in love with this project. Oh, but don't forget that I'm also kind of extra. So we got to thinking, what if we attach elastic to the back side of the project so that when I'm done sewing, I can then fold it over on itself, wrap the elastic around, and then literally just put this somewhere where nobody's gonna find it. I feel like a chef when they carry their knives in that special pouch. These are my special tools. What do you guys think about my dish drying mat, storage holder, shock absorber, placemat for your sewing machine? Like and follow for more.